Hello, you're welcome back to Gallery C, our 7th exhibit of 2019, July 2019. Our reception is actually this Thursday, 18th of July, 5 to 9. It is gallery night. This month we are featuring about 40 artists' works, and the works are related to landscape. So the title of the exhibit is European American Landscape. And the initial parts, integral parts of the exhibit are light, composition, and color. So just to lead you through a few of the pieces that are represented. The late Mary McGurdichian passed away. It was a very established New York artist. University of Rhode Island professor Brian O'Malley, who's been with the gallery for 19 years since its inception. We're celebrating 19 years this year. Then we have Janice Lawrence, who's an artist from the Midwest. We've been showing her work for about 15 years. And Nune Tomasyan, she's an Armenian artist that does mostly landscapes throughout the country. And this particular landscapes are visuals of Vermont and New Hampshire. And finally, another artist that we've been showing their work, his work is Dr. Howard Schulman. The photographs here. Howard is a part-time photographer, not professionally. He's a physician, and he loves to strap his camera and drive around, and later on to run around and capture images of nature throughout the state of Rhode Island. I'm very honored to represent and show his work for over a decade and a half. So this is just a small collection of 6 pieces of art from 5 different artists. Continuing tour of this exhibition, Landscapes, European American Landscapes, I'm very honored to always showcase ex-assistant artists, painter, photographer, a very prolific artist by the name of Ian Mohan. This particular image represents right here, right about 100 meters away, Di Pasquale Plaza, right here in historic Federal Hill. And he's showcasing Dolce Villa Hotel right in the plaza, and here's the water fountain. And he has his own very particular style these days, speckling all the images. And coming through and continuing another artist I've been showing for close to 20 years, an artist from Manhattan by the name of Jeff Pullen. This particular artist works with lots of found objects and materials. This particular piece is called Nothing is Forever. It's actually 6 panels, 12 by 12 panels, and mounted on wood. They're actually linoleum panels and painted on with oil paint. And the image is actually Flushing Meadow Park in Queens, New York, where 1965 was the World's Fair. And he's depicting a little bit of landscape with the hidden trees. This place is very dear to me. I grew up in Flushing, Queens, New York, and where the World Fair was. And Jeff Pullen is an established artist. And then finally, on this particular wall, continuing is Eva Romakovich, and who was an artist, again with me for the last 13, 14 years. And she's a wonderful painter. This particular one, she calls it Providence 18. So it's a photographic view of a certain aerial kind of view of the old images of Providence, and very deep landscape tone colors. Wonderful, wonderful painter. And finally, this piece here, we're working with Lee Shabbat, and this is a piece that he did in Venice, and it's sort of a etcher kind of a feel to it, a little bit of stairways and distortions. Another wonderful oil paintings that he created about 3 years ago. We will continue on in a second here to the next artist. This is called Aerial Scape number 4. This is Michael Sherman, who is a RISD graduate, originally alumni from RISD illustration department and painting department. This is an image of Staten Island, actually the bridge, and he was graduating from RISD about 12 years ago, and I met him on Benefit Street and saw his work. Then I said, Michael, can I represent your work? Michael has done very well. He did his postgraduate work, and now he lives in Manhattan, has a studio in Brooklyn. I love this piece. It's a very grainy, textury, beautiful piece. And finally, another piece of Ian Mohan. This is called the Turk. This is downtown Providence, and it's representing the Turk Building, financial district in downtown Providence, and with his speckled style. And this particular one is a 24 by 24 inch acrylic on canvas piece. Continuing on, this time we're going to talk about some 3D work, assemblage work, a collage work. Our dear friend and also resident artist at the gallery, who's the gallery curator by the name of Julian Penrose. This is a wonderful piece that he's put together as a collage. It's called British Empire. Of course, all of his works are from heirloom. All the soldiers are from his childhood. He was born in Brazil, and all the other pieces are found objects, street walker, cleaning up the streets, and also making collage and telling a story. Finally, on this particular wall is Jack Kabarian, a fellow Armenian. It's called In the Back of My Mind. This particular piece is oil on wax. It's an 11 by 14 original piece of art. Jack was assisting Ron Ehrlich, a very established abstract artist, many years ago, and he created a number of small pieces, and we're featuring about 4 or 5 of Jack's smaller pieces. Continuing our tour, this time beyond paintings and three-dimensional works, is a photographer very established by the name of John Hames. This particular piece is done in south of France, in the Aix-en-Provence, in the southern part of France, from the year 2005. It's a sepia print. It's a beautiful photograph. Then we have a deceased artist by the name of, very established artist by the name of Ben Wise, who actually lived in the Providence orphanage for many years, and he became a real estate tycoon. And then he was a painter all along. He passed away in about 15 years ago. His work depicts mostly European paintings. This is in the city of Paris, Montmartre, where a lot of artists work and draw their pieces. Wonderful piece. It's an oil on linen. Finally, continuing with an abstract piece by also late Helena Stoker, an artist from Czechoslovakia, and she passed away about 6 years ago. This particular piece she created in the year 2001. It's called Cowshed, and you could see sort of a landscape in the foreground and some figurative, we don't know what they are, trees, animals. Beautiful piece. And finally, on this wall is a very colorful, very vibrant painting. It's an oil on canvas, 18 by 24 inches, by the name of Farnaz Mobayan. The title of the piece is Escape, S-C-A-P-E, and Farnaz actually is an artist, practicing artist from Tehran, Iran, and she lives in Boston area. Wonderful piece, very vibrant, very textury piece of art. Coming back to French landscape, depicting beautiful French Pyrenees mountains, circa 19th century painting, a beautiful original with a wonderful over 100-year-old molding. Victor Émile Cartier, born in 1811, passed away in 1866. This particular painting depicts the French Pyrenees, a wonderful magenta mountains, circa 19th century. That's a beautiful canvas, very good size piece, 22 by 14 inches. of course converted from European centimeters, and it also really is held by a wonderful over 130-year-old molding, which is a wonderful original frame. We had the sister of this painting. We sold it to a client who eventually moved to North Carolina. Finally, last couple of pieces of our European American landscapes. Wonderful painting that I actually bought from Lake Tahoe about 15 years, 20 years ago. Artist from Fresno originally, California, by the name of Zobian, and he was born 1917, passed away in 1985, and he depicted this piece of landscape, which is a very strange composition with this silhouette of a boat, almost see-through. Almost feels like the painting is not finished, but the painting depicts Lake Sevan, S-E-V-A-N. It's in the heart of Armenia, historic Armenia now, and these are the two chapels that are on the little bit of mountainside on top of the lake. Then finally, the left side to this painting is painting an Italian typical scene of a village, farmland, by the artist who we've been showing since we opened the gallery almost 2 decades ago, by the name of Alex Homsky. Alex is originally from Moscow, Russia, and he calls this Yellow Road. He lives in Cambridge, Massachusetts. He's mostly a figurative painter. This particular painting is about 12, 13 years old, and it depicts a scene from very flat, almost folk art, naive type of feel. Finally, the last featured art piece is labeled Camping. It's also a piece from Julian Penrose, his interpretation in a 3D collage way, assemblage art of a landscape. Plus we are featuring his recent published book, and that's available for sale, and a lot of his work is inclusive in this particular publication.